Todas estas son amenazas.
A year ago, this woman says she was paying $500 a month to the MS-13 gang in El Salvador, extortion money, to keep a restaurant up and running. Then, gang members murdered her son-in-law, and she and her daughter testified against them.
Empezamos a huir y a huir y a huir y a huir, evitando que nos mataran. Decidimos cruzar y entregarnos y pedir asilo en Estados Unidos.
In the past, her story might have been grounds for asylum in the United States, or at least an asylum hearing, but not anymore. That's because the Trump administration is upending the U.S. asylum system.
So that's a very big thing. It's a very important signature.
And one way they're doing it is through a deal with Guatemala called the Asylum Cooperation Agreement, or ACA.
This landmark agreement will put the coyotes and the smugglers out of business and stop asylum fraud and abuses.
What this means in practice is that hundreds of asylum seekers from Honduras and El Salvador have been deported and told to seek refuge in Guatemala instead. But Guatemala is plagued by many of the same problems that people are fleeing in the first place: violence, poverty, and corruption. So I came to see what asylum in Guatemala looks like.
Hola. Hola. Padre Mauro, mucho gusto.
Mauro, ¿cómo estás? En este momento se encuentran cenando los migrantes. La mayoría de estos son aquellos que fueron trasladados bajo el ACA. Buenas tardes, buen provecho.
Once deported under the ACA, asylum seekers arrive at this shelter.
¿Llegaron desde los Estados Unidos? ¿Pidieron asilo en los Estados Unidos?
Sí.
¿Y qué dijeron?
Que no, nos otorgamos el asilo, que los viniéramos a Guatemala.
Nos montaron en un avión, nos dijeron para dónde nos llevaban.
Porque yo no tenía idea de venir a Guatemala, yo no conocía ni nada.
Everyone I speak with is confused. They had made the long journey north, only to end up back, nearly where they started.
Trayendo un hondureño y salvadoreño en Guatemala a 3-4 horas de distancia de vehículo, de las estructuras criminales que operan en la región. Estados Unidos está tirando los centroamericanos en el matador.
The woman I met earlier, the one threatened by MS-13, is also staying at the shelter. She and her daughter are applying for asylum here, but a friend warns her that the gang is tracking them.
Supuestamente ya saben ellos dónde están, que han venido deportadas, pero que dicen que están ahí en Guatemala.
Entonces, pidiste asilo aquí en Guatemala, sí. Pero recibiste este mensaje que no se sienten seguros acá.
No, yo no me siento segura. Indiscutiblemente no podemos estar acá. Estamos más cerca, toda la gente que va para allá, que viene para acá.
She's one of very few people to pursue an asylum claim here. In fact, only about 16 of more than 900 people have done so. So why does this deal exist? Even Guatemala's newly elected president, Alejandro Giammattei, acknowledges the deal is political.
¿Qué son sus observaciones sobre el acuerdo después de los primeros 3 meses?
Lo que tenemos que hacer es cumplir con un acuerdo que nos dejaron. No le cuesta al país absolutamente ningún centavo. Entonces, la verdad es que la mayoría de la gente no se va a quedar en Guatemala. No le interesa quedarse en Guatemala.
And he's right. They don't want to stay here. It's too close to home, and asylum here offers little protection or support. The U.S. had pledged to pump $47 million into Guatemala's asylum system, but it's unclear how much of that money has been received or how it's been spent. Nevertheless, more of these deals are in the pipeline.
We entered into historic cooperation agreements with
Soon the Trump administration plans to implement asylum deals with Honduras and El Salvador. Those countries are even less prepared. 2 days later, I meet up again with the woman who's running from MS-13. Her situation's already gotten worse. She and her daughter can't stay at the shelter anymore. They've been there a month. And yet their asylum claims could take a few months to a year to process.
Tenemos que buscar a dónde ir. No sé, yo había pensado venir aquí al parque.
¿A este parque?
Sí, a este parque. Si no, ya vamos a dormir aquí, por aquí un espacio.
¿A dormir en este parque?
No aguanto. Yo ya estoy cansada, enferma. A veces hasta siento que mejor yo no me hubiese movido.
And that, in the end, may be the point of these deals. For For the Trump administration, the goal is to stem the flow of migrants to the U.S., perhaps by convincing them not to come at all.